Hey everyone, welcome back to 90 Games. Mighty 90 Games. Yeah, good start to this. Good start to the video. Well done. Picking up today with Archaon the Everchosen, the Beginner's Guide Part 2. I did post a Part 1.1 that covered the Tamarkan battle back on like turn 4 or something, just in case you wanted to have a look at that. That is an ambush battle. The tactics for that are a little bit different to a field battle, but obviously we'll cover field battles as we go. But if you are trying to beat Tamarkan and you're not having a good time, on a field battle, you can basically use the same tactics. Try and use the Marauder Horseman to peel off some of their more dangerous units. Go Tamarkan and his hero in early and try and take him out that way. If anyone wants me to do like a video battling him in a field battle to show you how to do that, I can probably engineer that from the save game that I've got here, or I could just start a new campaign and do it. So yeah, if that's something people are after, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see about doing that. Thank you for the people that have provided feedback. It's been really encouraging. So let's get into this, and hopefully we can have another good video for you guys. So picking up with a little bit of tidying up at the end of turn 6, and I just want to explain a couple of mechanics that I started to mention in the last game, the last video rather, and then didn't end up doing. So the first one was fatigue. When you're on the battlefield, it doesn't show anywhere here, but when they're on the battlefield, if you mouse over a unit or hold down spacebar, you'll see a little pair of legs on their icon. And the legs will be one of 3 different colors. They'll either be green, which means they're fresh and fighting at full capacity, orange, which means they're starting to get tired and they will suffer a bit of a stat decrease, or red when they're exhausted, and then they'll suffer a more significant stats decrease. So basically, it's not a huge deal, but it controls how effectively your troops fight. You can replenish fatigue on the battlefield by stopping your units from moving and fighting and just letting them sit there for a little bit, and they will recover some fatigue. Melee units, though, as soon as they're running and fighting, they lose fatigue pretty quickly. So it's not a huge deal, but it is a mechanic to be aware of. And again, in one of those fights where you're looking for every advantage, fatigue can be something to keep an eye on. So just keeping your units, giving your units an opportunity to rest every so often. There are various things that can unlock perfect vigor for characters. So an example, I believe there's one here. No, wrong lord, never mind. Perfect vigor means that a character with perfect vigor will never get tired. There's a few exceptions to that I'll cover later on. But yeah, that's fatigue in a nutshell. The other one that I wanted to cover just quickly is Marauders, how to upgrade your units with your warband upgrades. So once your units have got a certain amount of experience, so you can see here, selected unit must be rank 5, I can upgrade that unit to a unit of Undivided Chaos Warriors. Once I've got the appropriate technologies, so Rusted Branding Iron here, the Sensuous Branding Iron there, the Arcane Branding Iron there, and the Searing Branding Iron there, I can upgrade these to particular gods units, and then as they gain experience, they can level up and branch out into all these different things. The Branding Iron techs are out here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you have to work to unlock those, which is what we're doing now. So we're just going to take a quick sidestep into Culling of the Week, then we're going to grab Rite of Ascension, Profane Weaponry, and then the Rusted Branding Iron. So I want to go that way. I want to get Nurgle stuff first because of their healing, and Nurgle thematically and just the design of the units and stuff like that, they've always been my favorite Chaos God in terms of just how they look. I just like the gribbliness of them. They're cool. So that's how you level those up. Now the Gifts of Chaos, I'm not going to use any of these yet because I like to save my souls early campaign for dedicating characters, but if you find that you need a little bit of an edge, some of these can be really good. That one particularly, if you're going into a siege battle where you are not hugely confident, Shatterstone lets you blow up the walls, and you can use that twice in a battle, so you can make a breach in the walls really quickly, and then you can use it again to breach the walls a second time, or you can use it to knock down a barricade or something inside the city very, very quickly. And the 15% missile resistance to all of your units is really very, very helpful. Defensive supplies, that only counts in a defensive siege, which if everything's going right, you shouldn't have to do anything with for a while there. You can get some more Furies in here. So the way this works with gifts that add units is that they'll give you one immediately, and then every 3 or 4 or 5 turns it'll list it there in the description, another unit will be added, and you recruit those here through the gifted units. So I'm not going to do. You have to be in either your territory or a vassal's territory, and I think you have to have a certain level of chaos corruption. I don't think it works in just allied territory. I don't think. I don't usually use a lot of defensive allies as Archaon, so I'm not 100% sure about that. But certainly, if you're in a vassal's territory and the chaos corruption is there, you'll be able to recruit a good amount of units from the warband, and you should be able to grab these gifted units wherever. And as long as you're in friendly territory, you can get the regiments of renown. But you can only get one of those each, except in a few very specific circumstances, none of which apply to chaos. But the regiments of renown are different for every faction. But all units, all lords in the faction, or all faction, all armies within that faction can recruit them. So you can have the instance sometimes where if you're fighting another faction that's the same race as you can actually have a regiment of renown on the field, and they could have the exact same regiment of renown on their side of the field. So they're a little bit weird sometimes. But generally speaking, I prefer to use the regiments of renown as an emergency unit because they're very, very powerful. You can recruit them instantly in your territory, and so I find them very handy to keep in reserve and use in an emergency. So an army that I didn't see coming has suddenly popped up in my territory, or a rogue army has appeared and started causing problems, or there's a rebellion or whatever. Because they have once you've recruited them, even if you dismissed them straight away, there's still a 10-turn cooldown before you can get them back. So they're a pretty limited resource. There's a few regiments of renown that I like to get early in campaigns. So the Swords of Chaos here are a really good example. They just really help early game, as you've seen. They've been very, very helpful. I will dismiss them at some point when I can replace them with something else and put them back into the regiments of renown pool. And there's a few other regiments of renown scattered around in different races that I think that I usually get. Like I can't remember what they're called, the purple Deathwind mortar things from Skaven. They're really good. Okay, so end of turn 6. Just a little bit of tidying up that I did. I'm not going to recruit any more units yet because I don't really need them. Tamokhan has respawned. Now, we've only got a little bit of allegiance with him, so there's not a lot we can do. As soon as we possibly can, we want to use this, defend target, and we want to use that and then select Archaon. And then what will happen is that Tamokhan will follow Archaon around and defend him in battles wherever he can. So we're still a little bit damaged up. I'd really like to stay on my side of the line here so we keep replenishing. But I also don't want to linger here too long. I want to get moving down to Kolek. I'm just going to go for it. Yeah, I'm pretty confident we can win that battle even with a damaged army. Won't recruit anything else yet because they're a little bit low on income. So what the goal here is, I'm just going to quickly spin over the end turn. What the goal here is to vassalize this faction ASAP. They'll probably have another settlement about here, I think. So we'll take that settlement, or burn it down, or whatever. We'll figure it out when we get there. Ideally, we want Tamokhan to take that settlement. So we want Tamokhan to take the settlements along here that we don't want. Now, we can either order him to take them, or we can take them and then hand them over to him in diplomacy. Now, usually you get a lot of money for trading settlements, but I probably won't take too much money off Tamokhan just because I don't want to completely bankrupt him. I want him to have enough money there so that he can recruit an army and actually be useful to me. Because he'll be giving us a little bit of income each turn. See vassal tribute there, so 32 gold a turn, so we're not getting much at the moment, but that will go up. Okay, they've abandoned that settlement, so that's even handier. Well, not abandoned it, but they've moved their army out, so that's even better. We don't need to worry about fighting them. So I will fight this one manually, just because we're a little bit roughed up already, and I don't want to take any unnecessary casualties, because we'll probably... It really depends on how things go. You can't really tell until we get down there. But if we have to fight Kolek Sun Eater, we'll have a bit of a fight on our hands. Ideally, we can just snatch his... He should only have one city by the time we get down there. Ideally, we can just snatch his one city when he's not even home and just blip. We just acquire his whole faction. He'll get wounded, so we'll have to wait 5 turns before we can recruit and use him. But unlike Tamokhan, who we can only sort of tell him what to do and hope that he does it, unlike that, we'll actually be able to recruit Kolek Sun Eater as a lord directly under our control. And we'll be able to build him an army and tell him what to do on the battlefield. He'll be a part of our faction. So this one will be, yeah, this is going to be like an absolute roll, but sometimes when you've got a damaged army, it's worth basically just babysitting a battle just to make sure that your units don't take stupid unnecessary damage, because then you can replenish them a bit faster. So what I'll do is I'll just chuck all that back there, and anything that's not damaged, which is a very short list of units, anything that's not damaged I will just put up here. Odds are the Hell Cannon will do enough damage that most of this stuff will break before it gets to our lines, because Norskins don't have outstanding leadership. Although they are a lot tougher after the last patch. Holy hell. I haven't played them much, but I have been playing a lot of Chaos, and so there's been a lot of fighting of the Norskins. And yeah, damn man, they got hands now. Like, Norskin never used to really be much of a concern for Archaon, you just sort of roll over them. But now, damn, they can put up a bit of a fight these days. Alright, so we'll just get the Hell Cannon bombing stuff. I'll put that on a control group just so I can quickly access it if I need to. Archaon doesn't have, like, heaps of magic yet, but Burning Head should do a pretty good job in here, I think. So again, just the spell hotkeys, Alt 3. So, spell casting, you sort of need to get an eye for it. So Burning Head, for example, takes a little bit to actually go off. So if I put it here, by the time it casts, they'll be long gone. But I reckon if I do it about there, hopefully that'll be a good one. As long as they don't stop or anything. Oh, maybe. Nah, they managed to dodge it. So on the harder modes, they're very, very good at dodging spells. On the less hard modes, they're nowhere near that spry. They'll just like stand there and tank it. Damn. It's sort of winged a unit. Yeah, that wasn't a very good cast. That's okay. Can have another go in a bit. So by leading them around with Archaon like this, we can get him into a nice blob for the Hell Cannon to just punish. Get the trolls to attack those horsemen, just so they don't sit there and shoot the Hell Cannon with impunity. And we'll get these guys to come around here, because they're fast enough to run these down. I'm just kind of swamp them there, and then that should take care of them. Okay, got some of these dudes pinned down now, so that'll be a good opportunity for a Searing Doom. Is that what that spell's called? Searing Doom? Yeah, Searing Doom. I always get confused between that and the Law of Fire one, the something or other. Piercing Bolts of Burning, I think it's called. Alright, let me just get my infantry back out of there. So I can do... No. Too many of my units caught up in there. Get the Hellstriders back out. Got 3 seconds to another Searing Doom. We good. Ah, yeah, with artillery, generally don't park units right in front of your artillery, because you will take some friendly fire. Now, something like a Hell Cannon that fires on like that massive arc, it's less of an issue. Something like a Hellstorm rocket battery for the Empire, like, oh my god, do not put your own troops in front of that. That is a very, very bad idea. It will absolutely delete your own units. Oh, what's his face got in here? Grog. Good stuff. The Hell Cannon can be shooting that. So yeah, that's the reason we did this manually, just so we can basically leave all of that part of the army just completely out of it, so they don't take additional damage. Because, yeah, if you like, you know, you might only take 5-10 casualties on an already damaged unit, but then if they only heal, you know, 3 or 4 of those casualties every battle, then ultimately you're still running down your own units. So I guess a good bit of advice for this game is to try and I think I've said this before in another video, but try and get used to doing a lot with a little. Like, you don't necessarily need to use your entire army every battle. Like, yeah, some battles you definitely will. Absolutely. You need everything on your side that you can get. But other times, if you can get by just using a couple of units, do so. Because it also gives you a good opportunity to practice your micromanagement, and it also gives you a good opportunity to get to know units really well, and to know what their strengths and weaknesses are, and to know how far you can push them. So, like, ideally, as I said and showed you in the last battle, you want to be kind of cycle charging with cavalry. But on the off chance that you can't do that, it's good to know which cavalry is strong enough to actually stand there and take a bit of a beating in melee for a bit and can actually hold their own, and which cavalry will just get eaten alive if they stand still too long. So little things like that, they just come with experience. And I'm not like a prodigiously good gamer. I mean, I'm not a bad gamer, but I'm not fantastic. This game's just, the great thing about this game, one of the reasons I love this game so much, is that anyone can get, like, fantastically good at it. You don't need to have super good reflexes or anything like that for, like, a, competitive first-person shooter. You don't need to have the really good cards for, like Hearthstone or Magic or whatever like that. You just need practice. Yeah, cool. So we've sacked that, made a bit of money out of that one. I would wager that Tamarkan is probably going to come down here and grab that by himself. And if not, one of the other vassals probably will. Otherwise, if at the start of next turn it doesn't look like someone's going to take that, I will peel off Grog and use him to grab it. Meanwhile, Archaon... Oh yeah, go on, I'll grab another unit of trolls. So with trolls... the best thing you can do, in my opinion, you can get them up to tier 3 and then turn them into armoured Chaos Trolls, and they are good, don't get me wrong. I prefer to save them up to tier 6, level 6 rather, and then turn them into Bile Trolls once I've got the Mark of Nurgle available. Because they have a really good AoE debuff, and they've still got the regeneration that all Trolls get. So we got a Rite of Ascension, Profane Weaponry... No, actually, I'll grab Culling. I will grab Culling of the Weak first. I need those extra souls. Cool. Now, usually, as I've said with you'd want to be checking Diplomacy sort of every turn, at the start of the turn, preferably. But not as big of a thing for Chaos. Our Diplomacy is generally limited as Chaos to you now are my vassal or you are dead. And very occasionally, I am now making you be a part of my faction. Like we're about to do to Colex Suneater. Now, there's a bunch of different Chaos Lords scattered around the planet. In my campaign that I did for practice, and then I've kept playing because it's really fun, which is like turn 200 or something now, and it's just ridiculous. I've got that many... I might even load it up and show you at some point. But yeah... Anyway, cut a long story short, in that one, I haven't been able to save many of the other Chaos Lords. A lot of them have gotten wiped out. Now, it is theoretically possible to bring them back to life, but it was just a goofing around campaign. I've turned Archaon into a one-man army, and I'm just tearing things up. So, in this one, what I'll try and show you how to do is to hot-foot it across and get at least Festus, the Leech Lord, the Nurgle guy, because he's really good. And hopefully Azazel, the Slanesh guy. He's really good as well. What do I want here? Construction costs for all buildings faction-wide, or I gain... No, that's not even a question. Screw my vassals. Alright, yeah, so Tamarkan's going for that anyway, which is really good, because it means that he's coming down here and keeping close to us, so that when we get enough allegiance, we can tell him to follow Archaon around, and he should do that. However, I'm now thinking, I don't think I can make this next settlement this turn, but I'll put him in camp just in case I can't make it. Yeah, so even out of in-camp stance, we wouldn't have quite made that this turn. Okay, yeah, so that was the right call. So we bring him to here. Tamarkan will grab this over his turn, so what we'll do here is we'll just... Can auto-roll. Yeah, okay, what the hell, why not? Get a bit of extra XP out of it, whatever. I was planning on just hitting retreat. But yeah, okay, whatever. Auto-roll one guy against a garrison. Fun. This is what I mean about the auto-roll being a bit funny sometimes. Like, that would never normally happen. I don't think. Like, I've got Archaon running around, and there's even... Like, he's level 50, he's got God only knows what, in terms of... He's got so many different, like, world epics and stuff, it's not even funny. I've been so lucky with that campaign. He's got the crown, he's got the Nemesis Crown, he's got the Chalice of Malfleur, he's got Death Singer, he's got the Scintillating Shield, he's got the Burning Books of Corn. Like, he's ridiculous. And even then I roll him up to a city and it's like, close defeat. I'm like, oh God in heaven. But yeah, not a bad army to run as Chaos. If you can get it to the point where it's like Archaon and 19 heroes in an army, that's like, yep, that's perfectly acceptable, and that will dominate just about anything that can come at you. It'll dominate 4 anythings that can come at you. Oh yeah, that's another good one for new players. If you don't know this, the maximum amount of armies that can participate in a battle, or the forces, so it includes like garrisons and stuff, the maximum amount of forces that can participate in a battle is 4. So you can only have 4 armies participating in a battle on each side. Usually. And you can only bring 2 of those in at any one time. Again, usually. So, do I want extra character experience gain or extra unit experience? Not even a question. Again, let them fight. Champions Arena it is. Okay, so, let me just double check in diplomacy. Great, he's only got 1 settlement left. So that means we can vassalize him right there. Collect Sun Eater only has 1 settlement, which means we can confederate him if we can get there. Now, even if we can't see a city, so obviously when we can see a city, you can see the Lord sitting in it. Duh. When you can't see a city, you can't tell from this perspective if there's an army in there, but you can actually do a quick double check and get a little bit of an idea if there's an army sitting in a city. You can't necessarily tell how big it is, but you can at least see if it's there or not, and that's by doing this. You scroll out on the world map until you hit that view. Yeah. And if you look around, you see this city here. Zoom in a little bit more. If you zoom in too much, it cancels the view. You see that this city here has got this little fortress icon with a flag sticking out the top. That means there's a lord sitting in that city. This one does not have that, so there's no lord there. This one does have that, there's a lord sitting in that city. This one here doesn't have it, there's no lord there. There is a lord there. There is a lord there. There's obviously no lord in our city. We can see that there's one there. No lord sitting in that city. There's a lord sitting in that city. So we can't necessarily tell how big they are. You can make a rough guess. So if it says their military presence and it's like a low number, like 2, odds are the army sitting in there is not very big. If you come over here and it's got like military presence 20 or something, then you can be reasonably sure there's a decent army sitting in that city. It's not perfect, but it's at least a way to get a little bit of an idea if you're about to walk into an occupied city or an unoccupied city. And that can make a big difference to how you approach a battle. I'm going to grab an extra unit of trolls. That's probably a little bit excessive for marauders, and I'm flirting with running out of money. Or running out of income, anyway. No, because I really do want a lot. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll merge those. Sorry. I used to be indecisive, but now I'm not so sure. What do I want to do? I want to get another unit of trolls. Yeah, so bile trolls are very, very powerful when you can get a hold of them. But even regular trolls, just because there's not a lot of things early game that are going to be packing like mad flaming attacks, which will screw up your regeneration. But yeah, just the regeneration's great. Like, it really helps against like small arms fire and stuff like that. Like, they can take a bit of damage and then just regenerate it, which basically just means the enemy wastes their ammo. I think I might do this. It's definitely on the right settings. That doesn't feel like it should be a decisive victory. Then again, I guess it's a pretty trash army. Yeah, look, just for the sake of time, I will order all that. Okay, so that's the button we want again. Subjugate, so they will become our vassal. We'll get a bunch of souls. We'll get some replenishment. And this Norscan faction will now join our cause. Great. So we've already got, what, 3 vassals by turn 10? And one of them's a legendary vassal? So yeah, that's not too bad. So we'll be getting... Yep, getting souls per turn from that. I think their souls won't take over until next turn. Like the souls per turn from there. We're getting... Yep. Buffed research rate. Loving that. And if... I will go with the magical reserves and the purple sun of Xerius. Cool, Stench Ridden, that's the one we were after, so it makes the Lord tougher, I mean the hero tougher rather, but it also gives him that AoE healing ability. I'll take the training just so that this army's leveling up as fast as it possibly can. And... yep, I think we're good. So yeah, as always with these videos, because I'm just trying to be respectful of time, and because as you've seen, this game can take a long time, I will probably auto-roll stuff where I can get away with it. It won't give me the best results. You will definitely get better results if you do it manually. But yeah, just for the sake of time. And I'm also confident that I can deal with, you know, a few extra... Ah, crap, I didn't mean to salvage those items. Ah, god damn it, I meant to fuse them. That was annoying. Whatever, it's not worth it. I was going to show you how to fuse items by fusing those 2 greys and getting a green, but instead I just wasted them. But whatever, who cares? It's just for demonstrative purposes. If I'd done that for myself in my own campaign, I absolutely probably would have reloaded that and not wasted those items. But whatever. So what I thought I'd do with this one is I'll go to, like, I don't know, turn 20 or something, and put that up and just see what you guys think. Yeah, free money, why not? If you want me to carry on with it, I can. Otherwise, I will do a different one. But yeah, I will probably load up and show you my actual Archaon campaign at some point, just because it's pretty cool. Maybe. Just as, like, you know, and this is where it ends up type thing. Here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, so I'm going to go Rite of Ascension, I'm going to go Profane Weaponry, and then I'm going to queue up Rusted Branding Iron. So in 9 turns, I'll be able to turn stuff into Nurgle units. Okay, so I've got quests popping up here. I'm not going to cover quests in this particular video here. Okay, so they're a little bit defended there, but they've only got a garrison of 10, and it's pretty shite. Can't see what's in that army, can't see what's in an army, but they can't have too much. And Kolek Suneater, most importantly, Kolek Suneater himself is not standing there. So that's the really important bit. Alright, so here we go. Straight in. Declare war. They've only got the 1 settlement. We can say that there. Opponent settlement's 1. Our vassals will come in with us. They probably won't. They won't get here in time to do anything about this particular war, but that's okay. Boink. And we'll run him in like that behind us. Now, if this is a walled siege battle, which it is... Okay, these are a bit of a pain in the butt, but I will show you how to do this, just so that you do know. Because there's a couple of tricks you can pull now that we've got some siege artillery. So you can use a hero to bait fire from the towers. Towers will have a bit of trouble hitting a hero, especially if it's a fast hero like Archaon, especially if you're moving them around. And you can use artillery to blow up the towers and create a blind spot in the city's defences. Damn, I should have turned on Shadowstone for blowing down the wall. Show you how that worked as well, but oh well. Could do that next time. Cool. Alright, so their reinforcements are going to come over here. We've only got the singular lord, and he's pretty badly damaged, so we'll probably won't use him a whole lot. So what we're going to do for this battle is we are going to deploy our infantry at the back here. And we are going to deploy all of our cavalry. Put him... yeah, that'll do. Put them in there like that, just so that we make that sort of unit wedge there. So the reason that you want to double stack units like this sometimes is because it makes it harder for units to just blast through them. They can't just sort of knock them aside and carry on. So the combined mass of the units will actually slow things down and prevent heavier units from just ploughing through, similar to what we did with Tamarkan in the ambush battle. Okay, so we're going to put Archaon up front here, well, at back, yep, whichever direction he's currently standing, and we're going to put the Hell Cannon over here. So what's going to happen here is that we're going to use the Nurgle hero to tank the shots from the towers, and we're going to use the Hell Cannon to shoot the towers down. Meanwhile, the rest of the army is just going to chill for 1 minute and 50 until their reinforcements come on, and we're just going to attack them straight away, smash them, get them off the battlefield, so that they're not coming over here and harrying us from behind while we're trying to take the city. So we're just going to smash their reinforcements, clear off the battlefield, while the Hell Cannon takes care of the defensive towers, and hopefully puts a hole in the walls, and then we will turn around and then attack the city. So that gives them time. It's going to give them time to build up their defenses and stuff. But yeah, it shouldn't really be too much of an issue. Especially once we take out their reinforcements essentially for free. So as you can see, the towers are doing a little bit of damage there because he's just been sitting there doing nothing. But if I start to run him around a bit, you can do a lot to dodge the shots. Let me zoom in there so hopefully you can see that on YouTube. So you see this like... yeah, these sort of like silvery white bolts coming out of the towers and hitting the ground there. And you can see the arc that they're on, and they can't change direction mid-air. So you can sort of see where they're firing, and then run over this way. And you can do the same with a lot of artillery and projectiles. Obviously, the faster the projectile's moving, the harder it is to dodge. So something like handgun fire from point blank range is a lot harder to fire than dodge rather than like a grudge thrower chucking a big rock from the back of a battlefield, or flights of arrows. If the tower's red, if like a defensive position's red, it means it's held by the enemy. If it's green, it's held by you. If it's orange, it's not. It's neutral or not built yet or whatever. Piercing tower, yeah, neutral. So they're the other points on the walls that they're not holding. Alright, reinforcements in 3 seconds. Just hit that again. Alright, straight into it. So there's, yeah, not a lot of rhyme or reason to this one. We just want to mob them at the edge of the battlefield and just get them to go away. I'll keep the Hellstriders out of it because they're a bit damaged. Yeah, the Chaos Warhounds are running for it. That's okay. The Knights will bring them down. Oh, that's one thing I didn't do, was turn all of that crap off guard mode, so they chase. Ograx, what's his name? Grog. He's there, but he's damaged, so he's just going to chill out and do not a lot. Yeah, you got a Searing Doom in the back there. That shouldn't hit our units, I don't think, unless they start moving forward at that exact wrong point. No, we're good. We're good. Don't want to use a lot of magic on these guys. I want to save most of the magic for assaulting the city itself. But we can use a little bit just to, yep, shatter these and move them off the battlefield quickly. Yep, go away, please. Move them out of range so they're not chucking in spears into our own units. Yeah, so the Hell Cannon probably won't have enough ammo to do both towers and a wall, but that's okay. We can get the gate battered down instead. And our troops can chill over here, where they can no longer be shot. While Archaon knocks down the gate, and then the troops can come in this way and either climb up the walls or go through that gate. Jeez, we might be pushing it to have enough ammo to even put down that second tower. Far out, they're tough. A lot tougher since they made a few changes to the siege mechanics a while back. Okay, how is he not off the battlefield yet? That's silly. Alright, what I'll do is I'll get the Knights to stay on him. Everyone else can move this way. But at least having taken down one tower, we could always nestle our troops into this little area here. I'd like to be able to spread them out more, but if we don't get that second tower down, they can just chill out over here. Because the towers can't fire outside their arcs. And it's still very busy shooting the Nurgle hero, who can drop that heal. Can't believe he didn't just flee backwards off the battlefield. That's so weird. Alright, just going to reform a little bit. And put the Chaos Warriors all together. These guys can come back here. We'll turn them off fire at will so they don't throw any spears at that Lord and accidentally hit our Knights. They're going to stay back because they're not in good shape. And you lot can go there. And Archaon can go get to work on the gate. Put them in the tower's blind spot, because I don't think that second one is going to come down. No, so I ended up wasting the second half of the ammo on that Hell Cannon. That was my bad. I honestly thought with that buff it would have enough to do both of those towers. I mean, I got close on the second one, but weird. How many shots you got left? One. Yeah, no, it's definitely not going to get that second down. Oh, well, whatever. Okay, so that's a single model guy. It's a character. It's a single model character. Cool, and then it'll just be siege tactics as normal. Get them to blob up on the gate and drop the rest of that magic on them. Yeah, Hell Cannon's out of ammo? Yeah, Hell Cannon's out of ammo. I'll just move him back over here to chill with these guys. So when artillery crews run out of ammo, they automatically drop their artillery. So it's generally a good idea, once they're run out of ammunition, to move them somewhere safe. because even if the artillery crew gets wiped out, even if it leaves the machine itself sitting on the battlefield untouched, that will still count as it being wiped out. Alright, I'm just going to put this in fast forward while we wait for happy numbers and the gate to go away. Oh, shivers, they're going to drop magic on us. Okay, whoa, 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 whoa. New plan? Back off until we get that Sorcerer Lord. What a Sorcerer? Who's doing that? Not you. It's you. Okay. Hit him with a Spirit Leech. New plan, back off so that he can't do that. Don't know if that Lord died or got away. Probably got away. Yeah, it looks like he got away. Cool, gates down. Where'd that Lord go? Looks like he backed off. Okay, trolls are kind of annoying to deal with magic. But that's Searing Dome right there. That should do a bit of damage to him. And that is a flaming thing, so that will mess with their regen. Yeah, there we go. So that's another weird thing. You just got to keep an eye on it sometimes. Units can get separated, and like, so the guy with the unit card's over there, but the rest of the main body of the unit's actually there. So yeah, just keep an eye on that one. Now, Burning Head is really good to use in enclosed spaces like this, but for now, I'm just going to save the magic for pummeling this bloke down. As soon as this guy's dead, we can bring the rest of the infantry up, because he will no longer be alive to throw Searing Dooms at them. Throwing Searing Doom at big blobs of infantry, that's Archaon's trick. Step off, you biter. Actually, I might drop one Searing Doom in there just to get rid of some of that chaff. So Searing Doom won't do a ton of damage to the characters, and we've also got those 2 heals. So if we do cop a bit of damage, like that, then that's okay, we can heal it. And if it gets rid of these idiots... Oh, trolls are coming back in again. Yeah, it's not worth a Burning Head in there yet. It travels quite a distance, and if there's nothing in its path, it's just a wasted spell. Well, get another Searing Dome on them. But the trolls don't like that burning effect. Right, old mate's nearly dead. I want him actually dead. Now, the reason being, if you look here, leadership, Lord recently died, -16. That will last the rest of the battle. If the Lord flees, it's a lesser leadership penalty. I think it's only like 8 or 10 or something. And it expires after a little while. So the leadership goes back to not being debuffed. So if you can kill a Lord, it's much better because it has an ongoing effect on the battle. It's like a permanent effect on that particular battle. Alright, so Searing Doom guy's dead. So we'll bring these guys in. Get a bit of Searing Doom of our own happening. Now would be a good time for one of those heals. Archaon doesn't really need it so much, but the hero himself does. If they get too low leadership, if they get too low health, then their leadership starts to waver, obviously. Oh, that looks like a good spot for a Burning Head. It doesn't do heaps of damage to Cav, but oh no, they're buggered off. Too slow. Searing Doom it is. Okay, and now we get the rest of the army into the mix. So I'm not going to send the spawn in. They're a little bit damaged, and they take ages to replenish, as I've mentioned. Forsaken I don't really care about, because I'm going to replace them anyway. They're really just there to fill a spot at the moment. Okay, that's a good place for a Burning Head. Let's go. Yeah, I love that spell. So the great thing about Burning Head is that A, it does a ton of damage, obviously. B, it's flaming, so it wrecks up regeneration. C, it goes for quite a while. D, it can rebound, like you just saw there. So you can have some great fun, like ricocheting it off stuff, doing trick shots with it. And it also does a big leadership debuff. So it's it makes them run away a whole lot, because no one likes having a giant burning skull go tearing through their lines, apparently. Who knew? Purple Son of Xerius. I don't have enough magic to show you yet, but that's another really good spell. It's a Vortex. So it's a little bit random in the way that it moves, and every so often you will get a cast. You're like, aha, a perfect spot, and you will use it, and then it'll just go wandering off, and you're like, ah, sad face. But yeah, it's pretty reliable, especially if you can get it in a big blob and like put it in the center. Then it kind of sort of tornadoes around the joint and just, yeah, wrecks them up a bunch. So you're gonna be careful using a Burning Head, because if that bounced back on us, that wouldn't be good. And they're Chaos Warriors anyway, and Burning Head does not do armor piercing damage. So you can see that there's a damage per second 20, and then in the brackets after it, it says 0%, and then it's got like a picture of a spiky suit of armor. That's armor piercing damage. So it's 0% armor piercing damage on that one. But you can also see after that, the little fireball, it's a flaming attack. Little arcane squiggle, it's a magical attack. So flaming means that it bypasses or lessens the effect of regeneration. And magical attacks bypass the target's physical resistance. But still stopped by ward save. And armor piercing attacks obviously bypass a target's armor. But there is a cap on that, which is why there's a certain point after which armor is like not really that relevant. I think it's about 100 from memory. I did watch a video one time where someone like broke down the numbers. But I didn't really understand, I didn't really, not a lot of it stuck to my brain. I understood it at the time, and afterwards I was like, yeah, I can't remember those numbers. I'm not a numbers guy. I'm a reading and writing guy. Cool. Alright, I'm going to put this on super speed now, because we're really just waiting for the end of the battle. Trolls have crap leadership, so our trolls may break and run away, even though Archaon's standing right there, but like, it's no big, they won't run far. I'm just going to dogpile, because I don't have any magic left anyway, so I don't have to worry about hitting our own units with spell casting. Get the knights in there as well. Now, this is not a good strategy for a siege. This is I'm trying to get through the rest of this quickly so I can move on and show you the rest of the campaign thing. The flooding the gate bit, that works fine against a foe like this. You'll see later on, I will definitely have sieges where I have to be more clever, and I can show you some of the other siege tactics you can do. For now, yeah, just keep it simple. The cities that you'll be up against aren't that well defended. It's just basically a numbers game. Try and avoid as many casualties as you can, so like not blobbing in all of your units like this. Use that whole do a lot with a little philosophy. But what I'm trying to do here is use this against them. So you can see there they go. So you can see there they've got army losses, they've got damage sustained, friends routing, melee contact, lawn dead, frightened by enemy units. So basic attacked in flank, flanks exposed. What I was trying to do is just pile up as many negative leadership bonuses as I could on them, just to break them and make them go away. So that saves me time over having to kill every single unit. You can also, there's also a thing, I don't think it's going to show here because they're no longer in battle, but there's also a thing called local superiority, where if an enemy, if a unit is just massively outnumbered in its sort of local area that it's standing in, that also inflicts a big debuff on their leadership. So combined with all those things, the goal there was just to like pile them on and get them out. And as you can see, only 37 losses. Like, that's perfectly acceptable for a siege that I just wanted to sweep away. Bit of a shame about wasting all the Hell Cannon's ammo trying to batter down that second tower, because that probably could have gotten quite a few kills, but oh well. I guess it's a good demonstration. You don't need battles to go perfectly in this game. You can make do just fine. And honestly, very rarely will a battle go perfectly. Until the point where you're running like unstoppable armies of destiny like Archaon and 19 Heroes or Scarbrand as a single, literally just him in the army. Okay, so here's what we're after. Now, I'm not going to sack this because that means I'm going to have to... that looks really tempting. 5.5 grand, look out. But then I'm going to have to spend a good chunk of that repairing the city that I've just sacked. And I don't want to do that because I want this city. It's a Dark Fortress site. And Kolek's already been working on it. So if I just go Enforce Confederation, like so, boink. That city is now mine. The rest of those heroes go away. The rest of those lords go away, sorry. And if we look here, Kolek Sun Eater. In 5 turns, we can re-recruit him, and he will be our lord now. And we can control everything about him. His talent points, his everything. Whereas with Tamokan the Vassal, we can't control how he levels up, we can't build his army for him, and we can't take direct control of him on the battlefield. He'll run around under AI control and do what he likes. So there you go, turn 11, we have already confederated our first legendary lord. Now, with the right DLC, and I can't remember which one it is, see my previous video about that, there is a Chaos Lord all the way over here. There's Village the Curseling, who lives in a city like there. You could potentially go and get him. Huge pain in the ass. Because you'd have to go all the way through the Chaos Dwarves, which is, yeah, not great to fight this early on. They're very high-powered missile units. That being said, I'm off to fight some in like 10 turns, because we're going this way. So the goal here is I want to come down here in March Stance. So the great thing about confederating like that as well is that you still get the rest of your movement at the end of the turn, as opposed to having to stop and take the city. So what we're going to do is hopefully someone will settle this, like them. We want to come through here. We're going to confederate this Orc tribe, not because we are going to use them for anything. We just want the research rate, diplomacy, and souls buff. There's an Ogre faction here. We're going to confederate. We're going to vassalize them. Sorry, not going to confederate the Greenskins. We're going to vassalize them. Vassalize the Ogres here. We're going to move through here and take out the Chaos Dwarf faction that's here. That's Astrogoth Ironhand. We want to make sure we fight him and get his legendary defeat trait, because it will give some really good buffs to Archaon spellcasting. And that's one thing I didn't cover. So you can see here, when you defeat a legendary lord in combat, you get a unique point for it, and like a unique skill. So this one's really good for Archaon, the 15% experience gain for heroes in army. That's really, really handy. Astrogoths does a buff to certain schools of magic, one of which is death. So it makes that spell and that spell more powerful for Archaon. I think it might buff fire spells as well. I can't really remember. Put his talent point in here. I'm just going to keep buffing his personal tree. Once we've taken out them, we want to try and get up here. We want to try and vassalize Arbal the Undefeated. He's a very powerful legendary Khorne hero. We can't confederate him because he is part of the Khorne faction, not the Warriors of Chaos faction. So we can only confederate other Chaos Lords that are actually part of the Warriors of Chaos faction. Otherwise, we've got to vassalize them. Then we're going to come up here. We're going to vassalize whatever we can get our hands on all the way through here. The idea is we want to try and make our way over to here as soon as possible to pick up Azazel, the Slaaneshi Demon Prince Lord guy. And then we want to try and get to here, the Brass Keep. I think I can't remember what that someone's called. We want to try and get to the Brass Keep, which is there, to pick up Festus, the Leech Lord. This is getting on into Empire territory over here. That's Kislev in there. It's Dwarves up here, but it'll probably be Norsca by the time we get there. And we want to try and confederate as many of those Norscan factions along through here as possible. And then, really, from this point on, the world's your oyster as Chaos. You can do whatever you want. You could go this way and take out the Chaos Dwarves, and there's a bunch of Chaos Dark Fortress sites through here, so that could be very, very lucrative. You can come all the way over to here to the, the Red Wastes, and pick up Village. Then you can come down here and invade Cathay. The newest Slaaneshi legendary lord, one of them is here in the hinterlands, Cathayan hinterlands, so you can come all the way down here and pick them up if you wanted. You could go over here and invade the Greenskins and the Ogres in the mountains. You could come through here into the Blasted Wastes. There's a bunch of Chaos Dwarves and stuff in here that you could potentially vassalize as well. Or you could continue along the north here, wipe out Boris Ursus of Kislev, and then come over here, fight your way through Daniel the Demon Prince. There's a bunch of Chaos Fortresses and stuff along here. You could fight your way all the way over to here, which is where you'll run into, what's her name? Valkyria the Bloody, the Khorne Warriors of Faction. Khorne Warriors of Faction, Jesus God. The Warriors of Chaos Khornet faction. That's good. And Sigvald the Magnificent, the Slaaneshi guy, he's back here somewhere as well. His legendary defeat trait is really, really good to get as Archaon. Just about any melee lord, really. But it's a bit of a trek to go and get there. I'll cover trait farming or trait choosing in a different video. But essentially, there's certain lords that give certain traits that are very, very valuable to particular lords that you might be playing. So, for example, getting as many physical resistance buffs as you can for a melee lord, really good idea. For a caster lord, getting one bow's trait is amazing because it makes all spell casting for every caster in that army cheaper by like a significant amount. It's like 20% cheaper. So that's pretty significant. Over here, as you can see, we've got plenty of cash, so just going to upgrade the growth building. We're going to upgrade the money building, and I wouldn't mind starting to get some heroes. So I think I will go with Exalted Heroes first, because I feel like Archaon's kind of got the spell casting pretty well covered. I'm going to up the corruption. The reason I like this one is because it also does corruption in adjacent provinces, so it'll start spreading the corruption out here before I've really had to do too much. I mean, it's a slow spread, but at least it's happening. Now, we do have enough of this. Let me just check, because I believe there's an allegiance cost every turn for this. There's no guarantee. There's just yeah, for a limited amount of time. Okay, cool, yeah. So, but if I click that on Archaon now, Tamokan should come down here and tag along with him. And when we've got enough allegiance with that guy, we'll ask him to come and do the same thing. In the meantime, I'm going to tell these guys to come down here and defend the challenge stone. I don't actually really want them to defend the challenge stone, but I want them to start moving down here, because I might want to get them to settle something in here for myself. Oh, well, for us. I haven't shown you yet, but when you take a minor settlement as Chaos, you only have one build slot available, and there's only a very limited number of things that you can build. One of the most useful things is once you've got this tech, you can build buildings that allow you to recruit Chaos Sorcerer heroes and Exalted heroes from minor settlements, which is really, really good, because that means, for example, I could take this, put that building in, it only takes a turn to build, and then the next turn I could start recruiting heroes here to join my armies, rather than having to recruit heroes here, or, okay, bad example, because the challenge stone's right there, but let's say once I get out to here, right, I can recruit a hero from that settlement right there, rather than having to recruit them in one of these ones and then walk them all the way out. So that can be really handy as well. Alright, so I do apologise for talking so much in this one and like just sort of stopping at the end of turns and stuff, but it's meant to be a sort of a guide for very new players, so there's just constantly stuff popping up on my head that it's like, people may not know that, or people may not know that. But yeah, I'll try and make most of the videos, like I'll show you advanced stuff as well. This one, the first part of this one was very, very basic, because as I said, that was specifically for a guy that I knew, a friend that I have in real life, who was like totally new to the game. He got a new computer over the Christmas period, and he was like, yeah, Total War Shot, because we've talked about it before at work and stuff. I work with the guy. So yeah, so that was very, very basic, because I knew that he was coming into it with like zero knowledge. Whereas a lot of people watching are probably at least passingly familiar with these sorts of games, either the Total War titles or the Warhammer specifically. Okay, so yep, they're all on their way. So there's not a lot I can do about this one yet. So hopefully someone will come and settle that. That should be fine. So we're going to go into raid stance. Now, in our own territory, you can see that replenishes, that reduces our income and doesn't give us any income because we're raiding our own territory. But when we move into enemy territory, we can see that that's now giving us money. So that's a good way for the Warriors of Chaos to make some money in a pinch, is just to raid the territory that you're standing in. Most factions have access to raid stance. Not all, but most. I'm pretty sure the lizard men can't raid off the top of my head. Cool, so now downside here, he won't be healing, but that's okay. These guys are not going to be a tough fight. And we'll just check to see if there's anything else good that we can grab in here. Yeah, there's another unit of trolls. So what I might do is I might get rid of that unit of Forsaken. I know they've got slightly more health, but they're also lower experience. I'll take them instead. So we're getting decent income now, but we don't have a lot in the treasury. Now, by this stage, you could very easily have recruited another lord if you wanted to. I am saving it for getting Kolek, and I don't need 4 lords at the moment, I don't think. In fact, you know what? I'm going to get one just to show that you can. Why not? So we'll get... Oh, I can't afford any. But, right, next one. So, most factions in Warhammer pay for what's called supply lines. So every army, every new lord that you recruit, increases the total cost of the rest of your units incrementally. So by the time you're up to like 30 or 40 armies, you are paying a hell of a lot more for each unit than you normally otherwise would. Right? And that cost will continue to go up as you recruit more armies, and it will come down if you started to dismiss those armies. Chaos do not pay for supply lines. They pay for each of their troops and their lords and characters and all that sort of stuff as normal, but there is no globally increasing incremental cost just for those armies existing. A lot of the Chaos factions, in fact I think all the Chaos factions have that, all the Warriors of Chaos factions certainly do, and there's some armies, some factions even have completely free armies with no upkeep, so like the Beastmen or the Tomb Kings. I don't want any rebellions, so I'm just going to go with control, because I don't want to have to deal with that. Now this is good, they've come out here in March Stance. As I covered last video, March Stance means they cannot run away from this. So we're just going to smash these guys. We probably will be able to order all this one, I would suggest. Greenskins early game are not much of a challenge for Chaos. Or anyone else, really, for that matter. Unless they're on a war. That could be bad. Yep, it's fine, I'm just going to order all that. I'm going to take the souls and the money. I could have taken experience, but I didn't, so yep. And for the sake of preserving time on the campaign, I am not even going to bother healing these guys. I'm just going to run for it. Because the longer I give these guys to recuperate from that, the more units they're going to have when we get there. So because these settlements are of no value to us whatsoever, I am just going to be vassalizing every faction I can get my hands on. Just for the research rate, the souls per turn, and the diplomatic relations. That's all going pretty well. Now, as you can see, I asked Tamarkan to protect Archaon, but he has not deigned to do so yet. He's just like sitting there. This Chaos Lord can level... ooh, I could dedicate him. Nah, too expensive at the moment. So I'm just going to turn the Path of Glory notifications for him off, just so that doesn't nag us every turn. Now, some of these quests that are popping up are for legendary heroes, like the Blue Scribes. I'm not going to cover that in these videos, because I don't know if people watching have the DLC. If you do have the DLC, read what the quest says and do the thing, and you will get a legendary hero eventually. And there's quite a few legendary heroes for Chaos. There's Blue Scribes, there's Karanak, there's Scylla Angfangrim, there's a Sinesh guy whose name I can't remember, there's Akold Hellbrass, I'm sure I'm probably missing one. Oh yeah, Harold Hammerstorm. Yeah, there's the new bear guy, except he's not actually a bear, he's a skinwalker dude for Norska. You can get him for Chaos as well. They want a peace treaty, ha ha ha, no. Over the end turn, you're usually pretty safe to just, if people offer you diplomacy, just say no. Because doing it on your own turn, at the start of your turn, you've got the most money you're probably going to have for the turn, because your income's just come in fresh. Your characters are going to be on the highest available... Your armies and health characters and stuff will be on the highest available health. So it's generally better to do diplomacy right at the start of a turn. But you've also got to be careful about what you're doing. So you don't want to just take every random defensive alliance you can, because then if someone declares war on one of your defensive allies, you've either got to go to war, or you've got to take a big diplomatic penalty. Now, diplomatic penalties lower this thing here, your reliability rating. The lower your reliability rating, the less likely factions are to do diplomacy with you. And the more likely they are to just declare outright war on you, especially if you are low strength rank and low reliability. The strength rank is in relation to every other faction on the planet. So currently the Challengers of Khorne, who we're going to aim to confederate in a little while, are ranked number 1. But it's indicative at best. Like, you will not necessarily get crushed by someone way stronger than you, and you will not necessarily crush someone way weaker than you. There's always variables and things that can happen in this game. Especially once you start factoring in legendary characters and legendary items and stuff like that, they can really change things up. Okay, so when you're in defensive stance, you're immune to most attrition, you replenish in foreign territory, and you get an ambush defense chance. Some armies, some factions rather, also get other bonuses, like a small melee defense bonus or a small leadership bonus. Not so for Chaos. I'm just putting him in that so that he definitely replenishes. So we're going to auto-resolve that. And I'm going to sack that one for money, just because we need some. And then I'll use Old Mate, take him out of encamp stance, and he'll do the old 1-2 punch. So I've still got the full amount of souls, even though I sacked it first, which is groovy. Now what we're going to do is attempt to ambush bait this guy a little bit. So one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that Warhammer... here's a good trick for you. If you're having trouble clicking around because there's like name bars in the way, Control T turns them off. And then back on again. So we can try and ambush bait this guy, and I'm going to declare war on him right now. Because, as you can see, I've got no enemies here. Early game, like first sort of 2 or 3 turns, you could probably get away with it. If you're really strong, you can get away with it. But otherwise, the game is designed, like if the AI sees that you as the player have no enemies, it will do its absolute damnedest to find you an enemy. And so what can happen, what will happen if you end the turn... Oh, hang on, let me just think about this. Which way do I want to go first? Right, I'm going to get that one first, but then I'm going to come down and fill out some of this other stuff, because this one gives access to like Chosen and buffs to Chosen and stuff like that, which we're quite a way off getting. What was I saying before that? Yeah, if you frequently end the turn without having any enemies whatsoever, the game will just like find things to randomly declare war on you, and it can be really, really difficult because or really annoying because like a flank that you thought was secure because you had decent relations with, like this. Oh, he just wants a gift. Okay, so if I decline that gift, I'm automatically going to go to war with him, and he's up here near my capital city, which is currently undefended. So I'm going to say absolutely. I'm happy to give him 1,100 gold if it keeps him out of my face for a little while. Yeah, so stuff like that will happen. I've already got one enemy, and so people start sniffing around for gifts. If I was weaker on the strength ranking, that probably would have just been an outright declaration of war. Or if he didn't already have a bunch of enemies keeping him busy, that very likely just would have been an outright declaration of war. Because I'm only at war with one faction, and they are a minor, weak faction with like one settlement, and no one really cares about them. Cool, so he's going to move into attack. The ambush bait didn't work this time, but as you can see, he still gets a face full of the First Lord and the Second Army, and now our Greenskin Garrison. That is not an acceptable level of killage from my side of the battlefield as far as I'm concerned, so I will fight this one manually. However, I think this video has already been going for quite some time, so I might call this episode here, and I will pick up again with another one tomorrow or the next day. So basically, I'm trying to upload every second or third day at the moment. I'm going to try and work out more of a schedule, like more of a concrete schedule, so hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be able to say I'll upload, this day, and this day. I'm just waiting to see what my work is looking like in the new year, in terms of what days I'll be free and stuff like that. But for the next few weeks at least, I should be uploading at least 2 or 3 times a week. Thanks very much for watching. We'll pick this one up with we'll pick the next episode up with this battle right here. Please leave any comments or feedback below. If you want to support the channel in any way, please do. Greatly appreciate you for watching. Take care, everybody. See you next time.